Kari Lehtinen for the Stars. Here's Ottawa's masked man.
Robin Lehner, who hasn't won since mid-December, hasn't played an awful lot. He does boast a winning record on the road, though, at 4-3-1.
Dallas Stars have Cody Eakin, Antoine Roussel, and Ryan Garbett to start things off. Trevor Daley and David Schlemko on the back end. Schlemko playing his first game in Dallas for the Stars. Made his debut in Colorado, and now he defends the shot from Clark MacArthur, who fired it wide. That's Alex Chiasson, number 90. Clack and meet with Antoine Roussel at center ice. Kyle Turris taking it over the center iceman on the line. Shot it wide of the net, and then it's buried by Roussel along the boards. Jared Cowan, Cody Ceci on the back end, and Garbett harassing Ceci. Ceci takes the man. The puck drifts to the corner. Roussel couldn't get his stick down on it in the slot, and MacArthur hauls it to center ice. They'll shoot it in. Dallas with changes, and so are the Ottawa Senators. Demers out to center ice. Stars bring their top line out. Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, and Brett Ritchie, number 25. As that puck goes in on Robin Lehner.
Well, last year the team was 20-14-7 at midseason, and Lindy Ruff has them at 18-16-7. So things just changed a smidge. Again, they're a great team at manufacturing goals, not so good at preventing them. And I think winning here at home, which they've done a lot here lately, is a massive key for the second half.
Face off to Lehner's right. There's a much better face-off team than the Ottawa Senators, but David Legwand, signed as a free agent in the offseason, beats Jamie Benn here. Alex Goligoski partnered with John Klingberg back to chase the puck. Lehtinen unable to cut it off. Stone goes out to the line for Carlson, a shot that's blocked in front by Klingberg, and out comes Benn to center ice. Ritchie helps it along. Seguin moving in, drops it for Goligoski, swinging down to Seguin at the side of the net. Seguin locked up by Carlson back of the goal. Ritchie hacked it loose. Goligoski from the wing, shooting it. Pad stop Lehner. Seguin dragged it to the front of the net. Lehner turned it aside to Carlson, and he'll punch it ahead to center ice. Milan McCulloch shoots it over. Klingberg on the take for the Stars. Stone chasing him up the ice. Klingberg to center ice, and he'll fire it in wide of the net. Alex Hemsky, briefly an Ottawa Senator, traded there at the end of last season and put up some good numbers. Out there with Jason Spezza, the former Ottawa captain, and Eric Cole back in the lineup after missing Saturday's game in Denver as he was ill. Daley up ahead to Hemsky. Here come the Stars. On the wing to Spezza. Down toward Hemsky. Shot it. That's blocked. Lazar. Cole puts it back in the net. Hemsky on top. Trevor Daley. Passed it down to Spezza. His shot deflects over to Daley. He'll step deep against Conrad. Spezza drive. He missed the net.
Puck was rolling. Couldn't control it.
Schlemko into the pile. Nudged aside, and Phillips, their senior Senator, shoved it out to center ice. Hemsky in front of a changing Ottawa bench. And both teams will make changes again, but the Stars alertly on the puck. Sevier to Moan. He lost it in his skates and then was buried by Jared Cowan.
In the ever.
Chiasson looking for room in the Dallas zone. Demers holding him up. MacArthur Senator. Turris' shot is blocked. And Cowan will go back and get. They are big and beefy on the back end, Razor.
They are. I mean, you're going to earn your space against them. They gave the Arizona Coyotes almost nothing in their last game.
It's a 5-1 win for the Senators. They're finishing up an extended road trip tonight. A little mixed bag lately for Ottawa. 3-4-2 in their last 9. Travis Moan at center chips it in. And Lehner back of his net. Eakin and Garbett in there on Mathot. Bobby Ryan wears number 6. Zibanejad out to Hoffman. He's their leading goal scorer. He can't step past Klingberg.
A good play by John Klingberg, who had a rough road trip. He and Carlson, there's a little bit of similarity in their two games.
And Roussel does not get benefit of the doubt on that race.
You know, one of the things these flighty young European defensemen, especially Swedes, will do is back check as a defenseman. Turns around in a back checking role, cuts the ice, uses his feet well. And Hoffman, who's headed to the All-Star game, can't get through him. Tried to pull it through the feet and get solo on Kari Lehtinen and couldn't get all the way in there. Klingberg's an interesting guy. He's not cocky, but he's confident. And he doesn't argue on the bench, James Patrick says. He explains himself.
There's a difference.
There's a big difference.
A big difference.
There's a lot of guys that act petulant when they get back there and will argue. For him, it's just that here's what I was thinking and this is what I did.
let me tell you about it. MacArthur barreling in with Alex Goligoski. He's Klingberg's defense partner. Klingberg 3 years younger than Karlsson. He was aware of him and knows him just briefly, but not well. Roussel to center ice. He'll toss it to the line, and that's Karlsson. Leads the Senators in scoring with 29 points. Chase on firing. Kari Lehtinen takes it in the belly.
A couple of good shifts for Chiasson to start this one off. The man in behind the Senator bench is Dave Cameron, who took over for Paul McLean in early December. They were a 500 club, 11-11-5. They're 6-5-3 under Cameron. There seems to be a lot to like and obviously a ton of talent within their roster, but consistency of effort and production seems to always be elusive within their group. Some guys go good for a few games and then they just disappear for a while.
Ritchie launching this down the ice, and Ben and Seguin save up.
These are similar clubs when you look at them. We've said this for years, that you look at what they do and how they're rebuilding. They've got 10 guys that are under the age of 25. On their side, the Stars have 7 players under 25, so they're young and building. Both trying to chase a playoff spot.
Ottawa's 8 points out in the East. Dallas 6 points out in the West. Stars win another face-off, and that's Schlemko easing it back to Trevor Daley. McCulloch forces him to make the turn. And the Stars have the puck. Dallas winless in their last 4. They have picked up a couple of points at 0-2-2. They won 8 of their previous 9. And the Stars are offside.
A tough call. Blow the whistles, boys. Well, as you enjoy a cold one here tonight, remember Miller Time is coming up later in the game, brought to you by Pilsner Brews. Miller Lite. It's been a real brisk start to this game. Both teams skating well. Both teams hitting the mid-season mark at the same time. Could be a good one.
Separated by a single point. Spezza and Zibanejad at center ice. That's Mika Zibanejad. Should be scoring at home. Klingberg to Goligoski, taking what's given at center, firing it around the boards. Leonard unable to cut it off. Zibanejad lost the puck. Hemsky whipped it around. Goligoski in pursuit. That's Bobby Ryan, the former Duck, out. Here's a 2-on-1. Hoffman moving in. Hoffman shot. Score! What a story he's been for the Ottawa Senators. Hoffman picks up his team-leading 15th, and it's 1-0 Ottawa.
Speed, the ability to use the boards. Stars get a defenseman trap. Eric Cole is the high forward trying to read off of this. That's him along the boards. The puck gets past him, and then it's a race. And he wasn't going to catch Hoffman or Zibanejad. Gone. Left shot, right wing side. Has a pretty good look at the far side. He was looking past until the last second, and then as he whipped it on, it goes through the arm and by the body of Kari Lehtinen to open the scoring here in this one. Lehtinen gave up a goal on the first shot when the Senators were here last year, and then stopped 26 in a row.
We'll look for a repeat of that. Hoffman's team-leading 15th, and all of them at even strength. He is the only team-leading goal scorer in the NHL who does not have a power play point. Bobby Ryan, I'm sure, gets an assist on the play, and it's 1-0 Ottawa. Pass ahead. Seguin tipped it on to Ben from the wing. Shot it wide of the net. Ritchie was crashing. Demers settling at the right point. Moving it over to Jordy Ben. Into the corner. Seguin let it go. Ritchie passed it to Seguin in close quarters. Mathot spied him out. Demers gives to Jordy Ben. Challenged, but got it deep. Ritchie threw it at the net and a save Leonard. Demers firing it wide. Jordy Ben, shoulder to shoulder there with Peugeot. Up comes Karlsson, smoothly through center ice to throw it in. There's Demers. Goal and 3 assists for Demers in his last 8 games. On the wing to Moen, now to Horcoff, moving in, backhand shot, save Leonard, rebound loose. Moen tried to pick away at it, goes to MacArthur.
Boy, Leonard had most of it, but not all of it. Kyle Turris hustled all the way back in behind his own netminder and shoved him and the puck out.
Eric Greiba gets the pass ahead. Kyle Turris to center ice for Chiasson. Slips past Schlemko. And Chiasson and Schlemko in the corner. MacArthur swats it over to Turris. Looks out to the line. Daly giving chase. Deep for Chiasson in the corner. That's Schlemko again, knotting him up. Horkoff in there to help. Stars try and wrestle it free, and Daly sprints away with it to center ice. He's got Sevier right with him, but 4 Senators surround him. And Leonard will take the whistle. 13:04 remaining in the opening period. Mike Hoffman, 30-goal scorer at the American Hockey League level. That's 15 in the NHL. And a 1-0 Ottawa lead.
Guys who do all their scoring at even strength. All 5 of Horkoff's goals this season have been at even strength. Last year was Mr. Special Team. Came close to knotting this game up. Little cutter. Nice play by Colton Sevier to get it in there, and Greiba and Turris break in behind their big netminder, gets it with the elbow. It's dropping down. Boy, it's a good defensive play. More Greiba than Turris. Stay-at-home defense. Pays to have a fluffy sweater. Kept that one out. Right place, right time. Stars can't get there first. Close.
That's 5-2 Dallas early on. Here's Roussel, but it rockets off his stick. Stone works it ahead. McCulloch to the Dallas line. Klingberg took a little something off that. Roussel scampered back to get it. Klingberg with the outlet feed to Garbutt. Eakin across to Roussel, trying to step past Ceci. Garbutt going in there with Cowan. And here is Cowan up with the puck for the Senators. Slithering away, taking the Dallas line, but causing an offside on the play.
Looks like both teams would like to hit the attack blue line with a lot of speed and create off of that. It's going to be up to forwards primarily to get back and help out these 2 decors and maybe get bailed out by the netminder from time to time. Cody Eakin was tremendous against the Senators in the game here last year. That was the game that, didn't we have the little shindig afterward, the charity game? Mm-hmm. I think it was an afternoon. I didn't believe it was an afternoon game. It was that one.
It's a lot of fun. A charity game. Zibanejad finds the puck. Stars are able to hack it away, and there goes Spezza ahead. Feeding to Cole down the wing. Cole shooting it, save Leonard. Methot put it back to the net. Spezza battling hard for the puck with Methot. It comes to the slot. Zibanejad hands to Carlson, out to Bobby Ryan at center ice. He'll pitch it over. It bounces to Hoffman, a drive. That time Lettman's able to find the puck.
Tough play for Demers on the streaking, slick little Hoffman. He knows he's in behind him. He's trying frantically to bat this out of midair. Hoffman hits the gas. Watch this. 2 wipes at it. A fadeaway from their goal scorer, who won the Nice Guy Award in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League back when he was playing junior. He's a very, very nice player. Forget about Guy. They got some good ones in their stable.
Schlemko to Daly. Away from Chiasson, back to Schlemko. Ritchie gets it over. Carlson tries to take it away. Methot backing him up, and Carlson has the puck again. Out to center ice for Turris. On the wing, MacArthur stepping through. MacArthur fouled by Trevor Daly. A penalty coming up against Daly and the Stars. Extra attacker coming as Leonard hits the bench. High slot Chiasson. Carlson across to Methot. Down to Turris. MacArthur's in front of the net. There's Chiasson lurking. Carlson swung it all the way over, and Turris couldn't handle the pass. It was too hot. As soon as the Stars get possession of the puck, there'll be a whistle and an Ottawa power play. Provided they don't score, Carlson in front to Chiasson, and finally the whistle.
Boy, that puck was never, ever covered nor possessed, and the Stars get a whistle. They were in trouble. The Senators with a bunch of passes through the box. This is what I was just talking about. They have to have forwards tracking. The Senators hit the line with 3 guys. Sagan's trying to get back. They changed the point of attack. A bright play by Turris to do that, and because of it, there's a foul on MacArthur on his way to the net. Pretty smart little play by Carlson, trying to just bash it in off a leg. Knew he couldn't beat Kari Lehtinen from that angle.
Milan Mahalik has the last 2 Ottawa power play goals, but they were scored almost a month apart. Had one the other night in Arizona after an 0-for-28 run. And the Stars were able to clear it. Dallas' penalty killing steadily rising over the last few games. 9 out of 10 their last 3. Carlson. Zibanejad takes the line, leaves it for Ryan. Ryan to Zibanejad. Pad save Lettman on the shot.
Boy, a good one, too.
Eakin clears.
Bobby Ryan just bucked Eakin out of the way on his way in.
Roussel trading some hunting blows there with Leonard. We've been told is unshy of such things. Burris ahead to center, and MacArthur chipping it in. Back to the net, Goligoski has him, Schlemko the puck, and he'll ease it out. Midway through the Trevor Daley minor, about the midway point of the first period, shots are 6-4 Dallas, but Ottawa leads 1-0. Senators only visit here. In 16 days, they'll play again. Those will be in Canada, Ontario. That's where the building is. Stone lost it at the line. Horcoff trying to tie him up. They work it over, but Legwand lost the puck, and Cole trying to attack against Carlson. Slung it ahead to Turris. He'll leave it. Here comes Legwand into the zone with MacArthur. They're onside at the line. Rushed along for Turris. Out of Stone. Into the corner, MacArthur gave it back to Turris. Down to Stone at the goal line. Back to Turris. Horcoff over there. And some good, eager penalty killing, but the Stars don't get it deep. Back come the Senators. Legwand takes the slot. MacArthur scores! Shot it and beat Kari to the far post. It's 2-0 Ottawa.
What a shot. Boy, a rough first period for the veteran Eric Cole, who missed the game in Colorado on the weekend with an illness, and this one's headed out. He's got it, thinks he has it anyway late in this penalty killing shift. He gets puck jacked by the eventual goal scorer. And Clark MacArthur, again, it's second goal in a row where it's a left shot on the right side. There's no block. The Stars are in full retreat, and you could hear it go in off the pipe, and there's going to be a goaltending change for the Stars. The first one was stoppable for sure on the 2-on-1, and they didn't get that save. And the second one, you'd like to get the save, but it was a well-placed shot, and maybe trying to jar things a little bit, and maybe holding the tether on Kari Lettinen a little tighter. Anyway, midway through the opening period, we've got a new goaltender as Anders Lindback takes over.
26-year-old Swede. His lone win came in relief in Edmonton on December 21st. Went to the shootout. And it's 2-0. MacArthur's goal is 13th, 5th on the power play. Lindback back to set it up. And Goligoski. Ryan chasing him. Klingberg up the boards. Ritchie towards Sagan. Sagan trying to beat Cowan. Bounced away from him into the slot, and that's punched aside by Zibanejad. Out comes Hoffman. He has a goal in the game, but the Stars surround him. Goligoski and Klingberg. Klingberg with a pass across the ice to Travis Moen. Couldn't get that to settle quickly enough. Phillips stepping up. 36-year-old veteran defenseman, former first overall pick. Drive at a center, and he'll heave it in. There goes Schlemko after it. MacArthur from Legwand and Stone, the power play goal. Condra down the boards. Tried to shoot it. Schlemko wouldn't allow it. Legwand after the puck. Travis Moen jumped it out to center ice. Here's Stone tossing it back to Phillips. And that pass missed Condra. It's icing against Ottawa.
We saw Brett Ritchie just stop, drop a stick, and gingerly go back to the Stars bench. He's down the tunnel right now. This is wide. Puck comes into the middle, and as he turns, boom, he gets the shoulder cap of Bobby Ryan. It looked like right in the jaw.
Rough start for Dallas. Spezza wins the draw. Hemsky out to Demers, flipped it over to Jordy Ben for a shot. Rattled it into the corner. Spezza got it over to Cole. Fumbled the pass. Condra chips it past Demers. And here comes Hemsky. Cole's in 4 of his last 7 games. He's dicing him up for a shot. Mathot blocks it. Turris to the boards. MacArthur gives it back to him, and the Senators are on the attack again, but they're changing. Turris jumps past the hit that Cole was trying to deliver at the line. Pursues Jordy Ben. The pass out to center ice. Cody Eakin. In over the line. He dropped it for Seguin, but a little too cutesy. Senators clear. Klingberg throwing it back, and then a collision with Chiasson in front of the Dallas bench, and Chiasson looks the worse for wear. Seguin hunts down the loose puck, gave it to Klingberg, taking the line, pushing it forward to Ben. Left it for Eakin, a shot, Leonard. Reflex save. And Seguin will chase it down. It's 1 goal in the last 9 games for Tyler Seguin, but he's got 40 shots in that span. Condra hit along the boards by Klingberg. Eakin there to wrestle it free. And out to center ice, Condra right back over.
Man, they can skate. You know, the Stars, one of their top assets is their ability to skate. And they can't skate away from anybody in this game so far.
Hemsky's trying it, but Roussel is offside at the attacking line. Ottawa Senators have come in here and scored twice. First, Mike Hoffman. Second, on the power play, Clark MacArthur. That chases Kari Lehtinen from the net. It's 2-0 Ottawa.
The likable, talented Alex Chiasson back in Dallas for the first time with the Ottawa Senators since the trade. Good look at him. He takes a pretty good run at Klingberg along the boards and gets the worst of it. He went off the ice, shaken up, seems to have recovered or shaken that off. So we've seen a couple of power right wingers go out, and Brett Ritchie's back.
Joining Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin at center, Schlemko. Like a set play as Daly was carving his way up the middle, but it's intercepted, and Bobby Ryan diving to put it into the Dallas zone. Schlemko takes a hit from Zibanejad. Ben poking after it. Zibanejad centers it. Daly past Bobby Ryan and Seguin blasting after it. Ceci, Cowiner there, and Leonard got away with it. Out to center ice, it's Hoffman. To the Dallas line for Zibanejad. Jordy Ben poked it away. Ritchie back for the puck. Ben knocked down at center. It's through Seguin's legs, and the Stars look for a change. Cody Ceci with the puck. Launched it off a stick and into the Dallas zone. That's Lindback back of the net. Jordy Ben having trouble loose at the side of the goal. Stone giving it a whack. Leg one. Pivoting, shooting, wide. Phillips from the left point. It bounces over his stick and back to the Ottawa line. Moen bringing it in. Takes the hit from Greiba along the boards. Senators coming the other way. Legwand to the Dallas line. McCulloch races to the front of the net. Legwand swinging wide, shot it. Jordy Ben blocked it. Back of the net, it's Legwand. Turning it back out to the line for Phillips. Now to Greiba at the right point. Shot it. Jordy Ben gloved it. And a pass ahead to Sevier on the wing to Moen. 3 Senators back. Moen absorbing another drive along the board. Sevier going in there. That's Moen following him up. Spezza trailing the play, but it goes behind the net. Klingberg is deep and out to Turris at center ice. One-on-one against Goligoski. Trying to turn inside on him, and Goligoski fights back, plays that well. Sending us to break. 4:44 remaining in the first period. Ottawa leads Dallas 2-0. Grab your crew, win a trip to the Daytona 500 with the Fox Sports Girls for you and your friends. Upload 2 photos of you and your crew at foxsports.com/grabyourcrew for a chance to head to the Daytona 500. 2-0 Ottawa. 4:44 left in the first period. And Anders Lindback in the Dallas net in relief of Kari Lehtinen. Jason Spezza, Kyle Turris to Lindback's left. Spezza.
He showed one thing and then moved, and that's why Turris is moving Chiasson back again.
They jockey. Spezza wins the faceoff. Klingberg back of his net. Roussel out here with these two, and Klingberg all the way in. Carlson knocked him off the puck. Spezza, Roussel, and Hemsky for the Stars. Klingberg pumped it along. Spezza working against Chiasson. Hemsky flipped it over. Catch Goligoski. Pass to Klingberg. Pushed it on to Hemsky. Moving in. Out to Spezza. And his pass blocked by Turris, but Klingberg kept it in again. Now Hemsky couldn't step past Turris. Klingberg trying to hold the puck, and it's kicked back down into the Dallas zone.
Going to be rough with Antoine Roussel out here instead of Eric Cole on this line, too.
Hemsky away from Zibanejad, takes the line. Eakin goes to the front of the net. Hemsky scores! He's been red hot. And the Stars are on the board.
This is really late in the shift. 4 goals and 17 points in 20 games as a Senator last season. He started to come into his own here the last month. Big blast, defenseman stick. Lets the stick come out. Last second, might have rode that a little bit. Almost the identical spot where Clark MacArthur beat Kari Lehtinen is where Hemsky blasted that one home. He had 1 assist in his first 15 games with Dallas. Then there was the healthy scratch. That's now 7 goals and 15 points in the last 23 games for him. That's his usual pace.
Well, the 7th of the season then for Ales Hemsky, and an important goal for Dallas late in the first period. See what Seguin, Benn, and Ritchie can do following that up. Ritchie contained by 2 Senators. Seguin found the puck out to Daly. A drive. Leonard the stop. Benn tried to kick it to his stick. Now chases it with Gryba. And that puck all the way back to Lindback zone. Lindback steered it away from Hoffman. Gave it to Daly. Passing off to Schlemko at center ice. Stars looking to change. Schlemko gains the center line and then turned it over. Pageau down the wing, shooting. Pad stop Lindback. The rebound was there, but Cole was covering. J.G. Pageau to Carlson and a pad stop Lindback. 2 sharp saves. Condra working it around the boards. Here's Carlson from the wing. Dropped it off. Pageau handing it off. Lazar's backhander. Swiftly blocked by Daly. Schlemko tried to turn it up. Lazar holding it in. Pageau walking away to the line for Mathot. Over to Carlson. Pass across the ice to Mathot. He overskates the puck. Eakin can't clear it past Pageau. Eriksson shot. Tipped by Condra, but blocked by Daly. And a whistle as we have a down Senator. It's Mathot next to the Dallas bench.
He missed a ton of time earlier this year with a hip injury, and I don't believe this is a hip injury here. Man, this has been a bruising, messy opening period. Fought the puck for a second. Eric Cole came through and got shoulder capped right in the mush. Looked up, boom. 72 tattooed. He's up and on his way off to recover from that. Boy, it's been a physical first period, so there's no shock in that regard. Cole's been on for both of the goals against in this game so far, and trying to get a little pound of flesh going back the other way. So this is what we were talking about earlier, where things have really turned around for Ales Hemsky. He looked bewildered and lost early, trying to adjust to things here in Dallas. And now he looks like the Ales Hemsky we saw all the time in Edmonton with the Oilers. Dropped a little bit with the Ottawa Senators last year. Big goal there. And 2 good stops by Lindback, whose only victory for the Stars this season came in relief in that crazy one in Edmonton.
Sevier busting in. Sevier trying to protect the puck. He's taken off his skates. It was Cowan. Sevier with points in 8 of his last 12 games. Moen eagerly out to Jordy Ben. That shot blocked, and Stone trying to step past Jordy Ben. He does. Stone with a shot save. Lindback can't get to the rebound, and Cowan scores.
Man, there have been some mentally questionable decisions down there. You know, late in the period, that last shift, there was a turnover in neutral ice. Schlemko turned it over. They were in a mess in their own zone. And then this time, Jordy Ben blasted into the shin pads, but you might as well just take the penalty. Instead, he's making sure that he doesn't take the penalty. Maybe he was anticipating that Demers was going to come across and take his guy. he was worrying about the pass to McCulloch. Anyway, they didn't read it very well, and they got beat in the tail end, and they give the Hemsky goal right back.
Allen's third of the season. He had a career-high 6 last year, and icing against Ottawa.
Well, you know, you look at this is the first game of the second part of the season, the second half, and offensively, there's no question that Lindy Ruff's crew can score goals. They're top 5 in the NHL in offense, but they come into the game here tonight 28th out of 30 teams defensively, and they've surrendered 3 here in the first 18 minutes of the game tonight, and it's going to be tough for them to get, you know, full traction going forward until they clean that part up.
Hemsky helps it back. Goligoski's shot tipped. Spets at the side of the net. Puck battle deep. Roussel. Zibanejad steps past him. And the Stars able to take it away. Goligoski swiveling. Shot wide.
Roussel might have taken that chance away from Spezza, who was screaming to the back door.
Zibanejad hauls it over. Lindback, who actually got an assist on the Hemsky goal. He and Goligoski did. Now a turnover, and a shot from Legwand is answered by Lindback, who's played pretty well.
That was just a bad break turnover on the first one.
Ryan shot it, blocked by Goligoski. Legwand got it over to Ryan. Centered it, shot from Hoffman. He doesn't get it off cleanly. And Hemsky, with a minute remaining in the period, will hand it back. Well, and since their asset is scoring goals, they're going to need to do that.
Yep.
Seguin, now out like Stone at the line. Flipped back into the Dallas zone. There's Trevor Daley. He's the Dallas defense with 9 goals. Schlemko with a pass ahead. Ritchie steering it in. Leonard setting it up for Erik Karlsson. Passed it over. It exploded off Phillips' stick. In front, loose is Seguin. He couldn't pull the trigger.
Great play by Ritchie. Really all 3 forwards on the forecheck. They get that, but Seguin, for the first time maybe this season, doesn't pull the trigger quick enough.
Big pile up along the near boards. Dallas able to heave it out with 10 seconds remaining in the frame. Ceci from center, shot it wide. Lazar overtaken by Trevor Daley. Pajot back there reaching for it. Garbutt gave him a little slug up high. Those two come together, and they'll need to be divided as the horn sounds.
Well, a frustrated crew in Victory Green will head to the room, lick their wounds, and try to re-rack in this one. Tyler Seguin, I think he might have been surprised that this puck got to him when he was open. He gets away from Karlsson, who just drifted away from the front of the net. The defenseman, it comes to him. I don't think he picked it up until it was right on top of him, and by then he was jammed and couldn't pull the trigger and get a shot off.
The Dallas Stars open a 3-game homestand tonight. 4 of the 5 heading into the All-Star break will be at the American Airlines Center, and the Stars would like to make some hay. However, the Ottawa Senators, too, have designs on getting back in the race into the Eastern Conference, and after a period that sees Kari Lehtinen take a seat and Ales Hemsky score on his former team, the Senators lead the Stars 3-1 in Dallas. Dallas Stars hockey on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Ford. Visit your Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. And by the Mazda 6. J.D. Power has awarded the Mazda 6 the highest ranked vehicle appeal among mid-size cars. Back inside the American Airlines Center, first period did not go as planned. The Ottawa Senators sprint to a 3-1 lead, and Kari Lehtinen took a seat at the 10:30 mark after surrendering 2 goals on 5 shots. Lindback gave up 1. He saw 6 Ottawa bids. The goal they scored was a rebound tally. Dallas's lone goal came from Ales Hemsky. Cody Eakin, Kyle Turris at center ice. Dallas has now won 16 of 21 faceoffs. We figured this would be an advantage, and it was in the first period.
But it really hasn't felt like much of an advantage after the play starts, though. They haven't generated an awful lot off of those draws. See what they can do with this one off an icing early here in the second period. I'm sure Lindy Ruff, you know, He yanked his goalie early. I'm sure the conversation between periods was about how they're defending or not defending in front of their two netminders, and the mantra would be get the next goal. This is a completely different game if they get the next goal, and it's 3-2.
Seguin is now co-leading the NHL with 26 goals after pretty much everybody slowed at the same time. MacArthur in on the attack. Turris, a shot deflected by Seguin over the top of the net.
That's where the Senators have been good. Plays like that.
Seguin tried to jump it and go. Turris finds it, fired it, blocked by Goligoski. Turris from the corner to MacArthur. Backhand shot blocked by Goligoski. Seguin there to find it back of the net. He finds Turris, who scraps to get it back for Ottawa. Lays it out to Mathot, who's back in the game, and his shot goes ricocheting off Ben to center.
Ouch.
There's some defensive commitment there. MacArthur wheeling it in on the backhand, and Trevor Daley on to Alex Goligoski. Checked by Zibanejad. Eric Cole has the puck back of the net. Cole's back out here with Hemsky and Spezza. Spezza collecting it on the wing to Hemsky to Cole. He couldn't get the shot away.
What a great play by Ales Hemsky.
Cole charging to the net. It went off his stick to Klingberg for a shot. Leonard the stop, and Spezza goes poking after it.
Boy, that is one quick twitch attack. Little touch pass by Hemsky. Understood what he wanted to do with the puck before he gets it. Spezza looks over his shoulder, can see him coming. Hemsky knows that there's Eric Cole, and Eric's just not been on in this game so far. Puck was rolling a little bit in the jam. Think about that chance and the chance Seguin had at the end of the first period. Neither guy got a shot on goal, let alone put it in.
Eakin wins the faceoff. Garbett fired it. Save Leonard. Rebound. Roussel right back into Leonard, who didn't move.
Neither did Phillips. There's no way that the senior Senator was going to start optically foraging for the puck. That's him, number 4 in front of the net. His responsibility is to keep Roussel away from his netminder, and Leonard did the rest. Some hungry foraging there. 1996 is when Phillips went first overall. 1996.
Coming up on 37 years old. Eakin fishing for it back of the net. Cowan locking him up. Garbett centers it. Stone couldn't control it. Klingberg shot wide. Eakin, Cowan draped on him, gave it to Roussel back of the net, tried to cram it, and that goes off Leonard to the corner. Stars again working hard for the puck, and Roussel's pass goes sailing out of the zone. Jordie Benn takes it back of his net, slings it up the near side to Roussel. Across the ice to Jordie Benn. On the attack, in comes Jordie. He passes off to Garbett for a drive that Cowan blocks wide. Roussel pitching it over to Demers off the bench. Demers down to Eakin. It's blocked on its way to him. But Roussel goes hunting the puck against McCulloch, who has him in check. Carlson with it. Sevier's all over him. To the line, Demers rifles it in on Leonard, and a good start here to the second period for Dallas.
Yeah, back-to-back grinding shifts, and they force young Carlson to play the entire first shift of the period in his own zone. Lean on him a little bit. He's fun to watch when he has the puck, and he's another one of these guys who's in love with the puck. Absolutely in love with it. Wherever it is, he's focused on it, and sometimes he can get out of position defensively because of that. You see forwards hustle to cover his space in behind him from time to time.
Moen digs it out. Trevor Daley stops against MacArthur. Shot it wide of the net. Goligoski back out to Moen. Driving it. Save Leonard again. Parker in there for a hit on Turris. Flipped it on over to Sevier along the boards. MacArthur lost it. Moen hands it back to Daley. He fires. He scores! Trevor Daley, and it's 3-2.
The Stars have come out here and been on their toes, physical, grinding, with a forecheck, very aggressive. Horkoff makes this happen. He wins the battle behind the net, goes in front, screens the goaltender, fights off the stick of Kyle Turris. Leonard, although he's big, looks for this, guesses where it's going as he drops down, and as he drops, it's elevated. Beautiful look there of a honey of a shot from Trevor Daley, who registers A career high with that one. His 10th. There's half a season to go.
5 in his last 14 games, too. And you said it, Razor, the next goal would be big. They got it, but here comes Ryan into the Dallas zone, passing off. Sagan over there to handle Hoffman. Passed on, and a stop on Ryan from Anders Lindback.
Well, you go back to last year with Trevor Daley. He missed 14 of the first 41 games. Remember, he had that ankle injury when we were in Toronto. And he produced a paltry 1 goal, 4 assists in the first half of the season. This year, 9 goals, 19 points. Remember last year, too, in the second half, he erupted. Lindy Ruff said he put a smile on my face every time he went over the boards. So now you look at the last 81 games he's played. He's close to a 20-goal scorer as a defenseman. It's heady stuff.
Yep, big number. Garbutt beats Zibanejad to center ice. And then his stick was hacked out of his hand. Garbutt's was. He fetches. Ceci up to the Dallas line. Roussel stripped it from Ryan. Pass was behind Eakin. Trailed the skate to stay on side and then knocks it over. Hoffman flipped it out. Ryan in pursuit of the puck. Zibanejad cutting to the middle and just bumped off the puck by Roussel. Hoffman passing it off. Not steering it into the corner. Moen and Horkoff with the helpers on the goal. Jeff Kay just announced that in the building. Zibanejad, pretty good hit. Garbutt shot. Carlson is blocked. Mathot puts it back in the net. And Jordy Ben from Pajot, but they don't get it out. Hoffman shot. Winds up on Pajot's forehand. Carlson wants the puck at the line. Carlson gets the puck. Shot it. Saved Lindback. Rebound. Lindback goes diving around his crease. And Eakin's able to take the puck away. They don't get it out. Jordy Ben shoots it into the Ottawa bench.
Trying to get rid of it with no conversations, no eye contact on his way back to the Stars bench after ripping that right into the middle of their bench. Chiasson throws it over the boards, head down the hallway, just trying to get it out. And everybody's in full protection mode, including head coach Dave Cameron.
Lindback's left. Legwand excused.
Anders has looked good. He's a battler.
Stone goes on top. Greiba's shot. That's Lindback again with the big reach.
You know, it's been a tough go for him too. You sit for long spells and then you get in. I think he's looked better. Well, there's no doubt he's looked better so far in this one. And the game in Edmonton that he took over for Kari Lehtonen than he has in his starts.
Greiba's shot came in. It found Lindback. He made the stop.
Less thinking, more doing. For all players, not just goaltenders, is a good thing.
Schlemko worked it over. Spezza to the line, not out. Phillips shooting. Lindback steers to the corner. Got a man breaking. Greiba shot. He hit the post.
And that's just a missed assignment. That's your winger that has to have that guy.
McCulloch shot stopped by Lindback. The Stars can't get out of their own zone. Now they do. Hemsky ahead to center. He fires it in. Spezza chasing Greiba to the corner. He'll work it over to Phillips. Ottawa in full possession. Dallas changing Ritchie in for a hit on Phillips. Demers standing up against McCulloch at center ice. Slapped it on to Ben. Down the boards toward Ritchie. Greiba beat him to the puck. Ben tried to strip him. Stone worked it on to McCulloch. And out come the Senators to center. This one's dumped in. It's icing against Ottawa.
You know, the Stars are one of these teams, and a lot of teams play this defensive zone coverage this way. Obviously the turnover is the genesis of it. They get out of sorts. Both wingers were on one side of the ice. It's the weak side defenseman that comes cruising down. Nice pass right through the middle. I mean, that is a patchless area of the ice. They get away with that one as it tinks off the iron up top. Big Greiba with the opportunity to answer the Daley goal earlier.
Ben and Turris off the scrum. It goes to the corner. Ritchie leaning on Greiba. Greiba trouble with Ben, and the shot came from the wing. Saved from Leonard. Held in at the line by Goligoski. And it's cranked past him. Goligoski and Daly out here together.
Well, as you mentioned back in the first period, this is a big decor that the Senators have. But mobility is not going to be their top asset. And it looks like the Stars are trying to go after him and challenge that a little bit.
Daly swinging back into his own zone. Goligoski, trouble with Turris in the corner. Ben kicks it ahead. Ritchie turns to find it. He's got Seguin up the left wing side as he peels to his right. Seguin and Ben go to the bench. Ritchie shouldering with Turris back of the net. Slung along to MacArthur. He'll lift it out. And Daly, trouble with a bouncing puck, but he shot it past Chiasson. And then that ricochets back into the Ottawa zone. Sevier ties up Cowan. Puck in front, Ceci passing forward. Pajot. J.G. Pajot. And they're offside at the line. 13:41 remaining in the second period. Much better frame for the Stars than Trevor Daly. Boom! Puts Dallas within a shot. It's 3-2 Ottawa in Dallas. It's never been more fun thanks to the Dr. Pepper Family Pack. Get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, and 4 Dr. Peppers, all for about the same as it costs to do dinner and a movie. Get your Dr. Pepper Family Pack today at DallasStars.com/specials.
Stars D pairs have been mixed and matched here in the second period too. The one thing they'd like to do and have all of them do, because they get outsized, is hustle to get back to pucks that are ripped in like this. Sprint back for it.
Demers is in position. Condra there to challenge. Pajot knocking it in deeper. Demers takes the contact. And Spezza with the puck. Long toss. Cole racing Carlson forward along the boards. Cole trying to get position. Carlson wedging him off. Hemsky joining the battle back of the net. Spezza cutting around Pajot. Demers has it. Out to Spezza. He's forced to rip it around the boards. Conrad dished it right back around again. Demers tossed it back to Spezza. Cranks it. That's blocked. Spezza following up. In front. Just missed Roussel. Schlemko walking away from Condra. Leaving it for Hemsky. Hemsky tossing it deep. And Schlemko threw it at the net. Then centers it. Pajot is there. And out come the Senators. Pajot to the Dallas line. Lazar will go chase it. Hemsky and Demers both back there for the Stars. They come up with the puck. Hemsky's pass across the ice for Schlemko. Stars need a change. Hemsky tapped it on to Roussel, and it's over. Bobby Ryan on the drive, but turned it over, and Roussel's cannonading blast answered by Leonard's left pad. Stars have the puck again in their own zone. Cody Eakin. Got away from Ryan. Garbett. Or it was Ryan and then Garbett. At center ice, let it go. Garbett dancing in front of his own net. Seguin tried to steal it at the line. Goligoski plays it forward.
Just keep putting it in behind their D, making them go back and do this.
Daly holding it in. Daly from the corner. Daly centered it. Seguin finds it. Ritchie, a shot. Didn't get much on it. It's off Ben's skate at the side of the net, and Daly comes firing through to take the puck away. To the line, but out.
Yeah, that one came out. Stars had their D involved in the shot. Schlemko go down deep on the earlier one, and then Roussel pokes the puck deep, and then off this turnover, look at this. Boom. Lump rebound off the left pad. Roussel trying to cut ice off, waits on it, right into the wheelhouse. He tries to score in front of Denny, who is still here before going back to France.
Which camera did he bring tonight?
I don't know. He's got more pictures than Scavallo.
He's got cameras of all sizes, too.
Thank God they're digital now. He's not paying for film.
Man. He's going broke. Here comes Sevier. One-on-one against Cowan. Takes the line to Klingberg. He shoots. He scores! And they tie it at 3.
Well, this is just pure unrecognition by the Senators. Watch. They look and they go, oh, we're fine. And then they realize, hold it. Number 3's a defenseman. Klingberg jumps up. Gallivants on the rush. Sinister little wrist shot. inside the pipe. Another goal off the rush. Timeout taken by the Ottawa Senators as they've seen their 2-goal lead evaporate here in a 9-minute span of the second period. He's going to be talking about tracking and recognition more than anything else here. I mean, think of their last 2 shifts, the terrible turnover in their own zone, and then really poor recognition with their tracking game of picking up a defenseman. And I'm sure they talked about how the Dallas Stars like to get their D-men involved in the rush. Back-to-back goals with defensemen. Daly's seeing eye shot from the point, and then Klingberg in transition. All around. Stop, hit the late guy, gets through the defenseman. They clean it out a little bit. Moen drives to the net. And we have a brand new hockey game midway through this hockey game. Good on young Klingberg, who, if there's a mantra they're talking, and they like this kid, about is, you know, read the score and the time when you're going to be risky with rushes like that. He read it perfectly there.
It's his 5th goal of the season, 5th-round pick, 131st player taken in 2010. The 22-year-old Swede has tied it. And here's Ritchie. Jamie Benn getting away from Zibanejad. Zibanejad fighting back with him in the corner. Hoffman takes a check from Ritchie. Puts it back in the net. Benn swatted off his stick and it's launched out to center, but Daly's back for it for Dallas. Noligoski is over the line. Pitch it towards Sagan. Stab to the corner. Carlson takes the hit from Ritchie. Cole held it in, but Turris takes over. On the wing to MacArthur into the Dallas zone. MacArthur in front. He had Chiasson breaking to the net. Hemsky overskates the puck. Gryba shot that hits Chiasson in front. Cole kicked it to his stick, and now Klingberg again. Up ahead to Hemsky at center. Flips it across right to Gryba. They'll use the boards and glass, and Chiasson tipped it out of play.
You watch the way the Stars have come out and played here in the second period. They've had the Senators in their own zone since the drop of the puck. But even when they're coming up the ice, it is, they call it in coach speak, play north. Everything goes straight up the ice. No delay, no east-west for the most part. When you don't have a play, it goes in behind their D and then get after them there. And it's worked to perfection so far here in the middle frame.
Spezza tying up with Leguan. No possession yet. Spezza finally wins it. And gets the pass from Klingberg at the line. Curling it over to Cole. Penalty coming up against Ottawa. Jordy Ben a shot. That's blocked. It hits Spezza in front and drops him. He's up quickly but gingerly making his way to the Dallas bench. Stars on the power play in a 3-3 game when we come back.
That man, Ales Hemsky, got the goal scoring going for the Stars in the game. They were down 2-0 when he blasted one past Leonard. And he's been doing that with rather regular occurrence here lately. Our AT&T U-verse rewind. His goal scoring exploits lately. Funny how they get started. The gift from behind the net against the Rangers here. Big blast. He's been using that slapper a lot. Nice goal set up by Spezza on the weekend in Colorado. And then here tonight, back in the opening frame. Down he comes. Rear back. Pull his pants down and spank it. Nothing wrong with that. Every goal that has beaten Leonard has beaten him low on that stick side. And that was the first of the 3.
First power play of the game for Dallas as David Leguan is in the penalty box for Ottawa. 0 for 14 in their last 4 games, and this has to become a bigger asset for them here in the second half. Pajot and Benn in the circle. Pajot wins the draw, and that one's cranked down the ice. Pajot is the only Ottawa center iceman who has a face-off rating of 50% or better, and it's just at 50%.
They might as well get kicked out and have a few of their wingers win draws for them because they've got better percentages.
Here comes Sagan taking the line, whipping it over to Benn. Looking over his options, leaves for Sagan, popping out with the puck, and he turned it over. Pajot from center ice with Condra. Condra one-on-one against Daly, who sends it out of play.
Tyler Seguin was saying this morning that 2 full days off had been like a godsend for him. He couldn't remember the last time. Of course, the whole team had the day off on Sunday, and then he was ill for practice on Monday, so he was feeling pretty good heading into this one here tonight. Scrappy moments around Lindback there. You know, you take a look at what he's done this year, and he's going to the All-Star game because of his goal scoring primarily. I mean, 16 goals in 22 home games, and there's not a player in the league that has done more damage in this period, the second period, than Seguin. The only guy close to him is Stamkos in Tampa Bay. And a lot of that has to do with speed. You know, a long change for your defense, being able to exploit that.
Stars made changes on this power play, but they still wrestled to get it out of their own zone. McCulloch chasing. Hemsky got it over to Cole. Rips it around the boards. Jason knocked it back to Cowan, who's sandwiched back there. Hemsky and Horcock looking to extricate the puck. Demers back out to Klingberg. He tied it a moment ago. Draw McCulloch to him. Chase to the line and then out of the zone. Passing to Hemsky. Stars bring it right back over. Hemsky, Chason tugging at him, drops it to Demers. To Klingberg, who's got some space. He shoots up high, he just missed. Hemsky couldn't settle it along the boards, and Demers will chase it down. There's making some changes, and both Cole and Daly have the passes for the other guy.
I think the Stars might end up with too many men on the ice here. Somebody got nailed. Yeah.
Dallas bench liner, 2 men on the ice.
It looked like there was miscommunication as to who was coming on and going off. It just looked messy over there. And more times than not, it's one of the 2 linesmen that will call this. And this time it was the referee who was staring right at it. So with a half a minute remaining in the minor, they pull themselves off the power play, and we'll get a little 4-on-4 action going on. And this has really not been a godsend for the Stars this season, whether it's been in regulation like this or in overtime. Certainly they haven't won an overtime game yet this year.
4-on-4 for half a minute then. Goligoski, Klingberg, Daly, and Seguin. Goligoski slammed it out of the corner. Work to the middle. Ben out to Klingberg. Turns his hand to find it. Gave it to Ben, and Seguin was waiting for it. Zibanejad intercepts, and there goes Ryan. He's loose. He shoots, and a save Lindback.
Tried the little delay to open up the netminder.
Now, Greiba's shot repelled by Lindback.
Greiba again. Forward's got to pick up the defenseman there, and the Stars got puck focused and allowed him to walk in. He hit a pipe and got stoned by Lindback.
Ryan steps past Jamie Benn and can't beat Klingberg, but then took it away from him. Throws it back out on top to Carlson. Power play here for Ottawa. They're second of the game. Carlson, a drive. Saved Lindback. He saw that with Ryan right on his lap.
Ryan gives him a little pat on the pads on his way out of there. The initial rush up the ice after the turnover, and then not quick recognition. There's the little fake, and then, boy, Teemu Selanne used to do that a lot. A little fake, extra step, open up the 5-hole and go between, but that should never be given up. The aftermath.
He's up to Lindback's right. And Garbutt flies out of the zone with it. He's got Eakin short-handed. Garbutt trying to turn against Carlson. He shoved it to the net. A save Leonard. Net rocks back to its position. Turris being chased, and Eakin was doing the chasing. Demers clears. Hemsky is serving the too many men on the ice minor against the Dallas bench. Erik Karlsson brings it ahead, and Moen sends it again into a ducking Ottawa bench.
Well, Erik Karlsson has spent most of this second period in behind his own blue line. Usually he's at the other end, firing away at the other netminder. Our Ford leaderboard tonight, shots leaders. Karlsson is the only defenseman in the top 5 of shots. Seguin remains about, 30 shots behind Alex Ovechkin for the NHL lead in this category. I can just hear the Gretzky line echoing in my head. You got to shoot the puck to score.
Those guys know it. See Ovechkin here on Saturday night, and the Caps are a little something going right now. Turris goes out to the line with it. Karlsson passes to Turris. Back to Karlsson. A shot deflected by Daly in on Lindback. Lindback makes the stop, and Daly, using the glass, clears it.
Where it pays to be big and positionally sound to get hit like that. The tough deflection.
15 remaining. MacArthur's offside. Pass was behind him. Ceci whips it right back over. And Lindback to the boards. So, Stars kill this one off. Ottawa's 1 for 2 on the night. Tipped in on Leonard from center. Eakin chasing. To get there ahead of Ceci. Now it goes to Hemsky back of the net. Spinning away from Ceci. Hemsky dodging and darting, and his pass blocked by Condra. Too far for Hoffman. Klingberg chipped it away from him. Fighting to get it back is Condra along the boards. Hoffman a shot. Lindback must have got a little bit of that.
Well, Klingberg was trying to make a risky play into the middle of the ice to his defense partner and turned it over there. They're fortunate.
Cole stepping past Cowan. Lazar hanging on to Cole. Hemsky out of the corner, shuffling back of the net. Greiber was hanging on to him. Spezza out with the puck. Pivoting against Lazar. Taking it back out on top. Wants Demers. Tipped by Condra. Demers' shot blocked by Condra. Spezza over there to challenge. That vaulted to center, and it's Schlemko at the Dallas line. Up the middle and tipped on to Sevier. Can't get away from Cowan. Condra's pass out Pajot, who now hauls it in. Moving right, shot it, and Lindback staying sturdy in the Dallas net. 5:05 remaining in the second period. It was 3-1 Ottawa when the frame started. We're tied at 3 late in the period in Dallas.
Anders Lindback has cauterized the early hemorrhaging of goals here. He stopped 16 to 17. Many of the difficult variety, including this one on the power play. Stone setting up the screen. It wasn't Stone that deflected it, though. It was Trevor Daly, and the trailing leg of Lindback turned this one aside. You know Karlsson's probably going to wind and fire, and he did. So the big Swede has stepped in there and done his job. And he's handled the puck well.
Pajot wins the faceoff in the Dallas zone. Karlsson shot it. It tipped up over the top of the net. Garbutt hammering Mathot on his way through. And Ryan Garbutt up with the puck. Can't clear it past Chiasson, who fires. That's off Garbutt, who recovered to send it out of play.
The game of interchangeable parts. Chiasson was backing up their defense. Mathot went barely down the boards. They're trying to pinch a little bit. It's been a rapid game in that regard. You know, it just looks frenetic at times down there at ice level. Oh, puck stuck up there. Ah, that's it. You earned your souvenir, sister. Little push from the Senators here after that timeout. A little bit of time spent in the Stars zone.
But she did that with a cell phone in her hand.
Of course. Well, how else would you do it?
I don't know.
Not going to separate yourself from that.
No. Asking a lot.
Surprised she didn't take a picture while she was up there.
She maybe did. Ritchie chasing Karlsson out from behind his net. Gets the turnover. Ritchie sliding it to Ben, who's impeded, and Karlsson's going to go. They jam up along the boards. Ryan to the loose puck, and so one more stumble from Jamie Benn there.
Karlsson arguing on his way to the box with this one. There was interference. It was his mistake. Why would you argue after you turn the puck over the way he did? Here he comes around, being hounded, throws it right into the middle, goes off the skate. They have to track back to the net. He runs into Jamie Benn, and I would suspect they nailed him for interference on this more than anything else. He thought it was just a puck battle that they were headed toward. So here's another opportunity. The Peter Positive stat. Okay, last year, midway through the season, the Stars had scored all of 6 goals on home ice. They had 6 power play goals at midseason. They have 14 already this year on home ice.
There you go. 3 of the last 5 they've scored on the power play have come from defensemen, and they have 2 goals from defensemen tonight. Here comes Tyler Seguin down the wing. Seguin taking it around behind. Seguin in front, and the shot went off Ritchie. Never got to the net.
It was too easy a block for Condra. It looked like a beautifully set up play. Ritchie gets rid of it immediately, and Condra just holds his ice and takes it in the shin pads.
Trevor Daley swats it around the boards. Cole barging in there with Phillips, put it back in the net. Gryba sends it all the way down the ice. 1:15 remaining on the Carlson minor. Not in the box that much. Pass ahead to Horcoff. Is an assist in the game. It's points in 3 straight games since his return after missing 4 with an illness. Goligoski holds the line, gives it to Demers. Nobody in front. Goligoski straight away. Now they stack up. He'll shove it along to Demers. From the half wall. Feathers it over to Hemsky. Cole's in front of the net. Hemsky kicked it back out to Goligoski. Back to Hemsky. Looking. Hemsky across. Demers. A shot saved. Runner rebound loose to the corner. Chason shoved by Cole. Horcoff comes away with the puck. Reloading Goligoski on top. Sidesteps, gives it to Demers. Walking away from McCulloch. Looking across the ice to Hemsky. Hemsky shooting a tip by Horcoff wide. Cole has it back of the net. Demers has to hustle. He dives to work at the Goligoski. His shot, he scores! Cole and Horcoff were in front. It is a 4-3 Dallas lead.
So the long solo skate for Carlson. Some choice words for the referee on his way out of there. Stars don't care. They've completely erased this now. They get a power play goal. It's earned. Watch Eric Cole go in on Cowan early on. He takes a stick up high and gets belted. Cole's the net front guy. A rolling puck gets blasted toward the net. There's your deflection. So Cole, who was wearing some semi-goat horns in the opening period, gets a big one back here. He's been a battering ram in the contest. He's got one of the best hand-eye coordinations that I've ever seen. He'll stand in practice at the end of practice and deflect pucks in front of the net. He'll get 15, 20 in a row. They're probably going to review this. Your stick has to contact the puck below the height of the net. I think this puck was knuckling and diving, and as Cole reaches out, it's 4 feet, the crossbar. Does he get it below the... There's no question he does. It's at his hip. And through Leonard, who was in retreat for a big guy, probably should have come out.
After video review, the call on the ice is confirmed. We have a good goal.
Probably should have come out and challenged Cole in front of the net. Instead, he allowed the deflection to beat him. And the Stars have the lead. Wow, what a rally in the middle frame.
3 goals unanswered in the second period. Dallas fans have been through a lot on video review lately. That one didn't take long, and it went Dallas's way. Zibanejad racing into the Dallas zone, and Ryan did not think he was offside, but so ruled.
He's an interesting guy and a very talented young player. He's the son of a Finnish mother and an Iranian dad, and he grew up in Sweden. What more do you need than that? You're going to be interesting, and he's ascended his way up with Spezza now here in Dallas. You know, Turris moves up, Zibanejad moves up, center position for them.
Alex Goligoski got an assist on that goal. He's got 2 assists in the game. Now he's defending, and Ryan got that shot past him. Lindback made the stop. It's Lindback's game. Goligoski takes the hit, worked it out to center ice. Garbett trying to bust through at the line. He can tag back up, but the Stars surrender the puck. Mathot's clearing attempt hit the linesman. Dallas firing it right back across. Brian Mott was the one who was hit. MacArthur on the wing to Chason. One-on-one with Klingberg, who threw the body at him in the corner. Out to Phillips. Ben in his lane. Klingberg again chasing Chason. Sagan probing. MacArthur centered it. Goes to Gryba again for a shot, and Lindback defies him once more.
Well, that time it's Ritchie. Again, your winger has to cover that guy, and you can see the light bulb go off on young Brett Ritchie as he looks back, collapses to the net. That's him collapsing deep down, and then he works from the interior position back out to Gryba. It seemed like he's been wide open the entire period. Lindy Ruff makes a change. Wants Horkoff for this draw in his own zone. This line's been good here in the second period.
With Peugeot to Lindback's left. 90 seconds remaining in the period. Off the tie-up, Schlemko has it back of the net. Worked it out to Moen. Kicked it back, Gryba shot skips in, and Lindback makes the save on what is at least his fourth shot of the game on goal.
Come back and talk things over. Start this thing up again and draw another line change from, or at least a deep air change. And as the veterans Daly and Goligoski come out, I like the way Lindback's handled things here since taking over. Made those big saves immediately back in the first period. Not much chance in the one that has eluded him.
Made the initial stop. This will go for icing against Dallas on the goal that did beat him, and then beat by a rebound chance.
Travis Moen has a couple of assists here in the second period. Says he loves him some Cleo Bates, Stars masseuse. You know, a big banging winger that's been through the wars in this league. It's nice to have that to keep the body going through the wars.
He used the word trustworthy the other day with Moen. Is he ever? Goligoski out to the line. Moen tied up his man. The puck slipped to center ice. And then a shove on Turris in front of the Ottawa bench.
1 minute remaining.
Goligoski has it back of the net. He also has his 7th 2-assist game of the season. Alex does.
He's way ahead of last year's pace in that category.
Sevier down the wing, shot it. Leonard the stop. Moen tried to throw it in front. Leonard's lost his goal stick in the chase. He gets it back from a teammate. Carlson kicked it to him. Sevier off to the side of the net. Leaving it for Jordy Ben on the interchange. Fired it in front. That went off Leonard to the corner for Horkoff. Stars hungrier after these pucks in the Ottawa zone.
Every time Carlson's been on the ice, I mean, they've spent most of their shifts in their own zone.
Set up neatly for Turris here on the feed from MacArthur. Jordy Ben hacked it away from him. Shot from the wing, and that's blocked on its way, and it hit MacArthur. And then it bounces to center ice. Here comes Spezza. Out of Cole. Cole in front to Hemsky to Klingberg. He scores! Three Stars.
Well, we know who the best young Swedish defenseman in the game tonight is. He's wearing victory green. Another bright play by Ales Hemsky. And very reminiscent of the earlier goal this period where the Ottawa Senators coming back into their own zone don't pick people up. The Stars with puck movement. Ginsu knifed them. An eruption of offense here in the middle frame. Wow.
We said it at the outset that the problem is not scoring.
No, they can answer anything that way. And the Senators are going to go back to their room in vertiginous fashion.
Sound good? Roussel stretched out for it at the line. Puck battle in the corner. 4 goals in the middle frame for Dallas. 2 from that guy.
What a game for the skill guys tonight, huh? Nightmares for the netminders, but great for skill.
Dallas Stars entered the second period down 3-1. Trevor Daly got it started. John Klingberg scores twice, and Eric Cole gets a goal and a helper. Dallas leads at 5-3. When we come back, Trevor Daly joins Julie. That's at the intermission. Dallas Stars hockey on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Ford. Visit your Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Dallas Stars trailed 3-1 after one. They ripped off 4 in the middle frame to lead 5-3, and we heard about this kid for a while, Razor. He's here, and yes, he has lived up to billing.
He is, and he's really trampolined off of a couple of rough outings for him with the puck, especially defensively, and he's been terrific here again tonight. Joins the rush, scores the tying goal at 3-3 on a pretty feed from Colton Sevier, and then the 5-3 goal late in this one. Gets it away quick again, joining the attack. He has athletic arrogance. He's tons of skill. He's the best rookie defenseman around here since Niskanen, and his next goal will tie him on the list of most goals by rookie D-men. And he's in a way kicking it old school 80s style like Hartsburg back in the day. Who knows where he's going to end up? We're halfway through the season, and he didn't start the season here.
He's played now. This is his 28th of Dallas's 42 games, so basically he did not play the first month of the season. That's quite a pace. Eakin wins the draw at center ice. Goligoski on the wing to Antoine Roussel. Alex Goligoski, one of 5 Dallas players with multi-point games. Turris is shot kicked out by Lindback to the line. Cowan knocked aside by Garbutt, who throws his body in against MacArthur. MacArthur's up with the puck. Chason lurking in front of the net, now goes behind it for the puck. Out to the line for Cowan. Go look at Ceci, steps away from Eakin, fires it. That's blocked by Garbutt right to Roussel, and there go the Stars. Roussel and Eakin darting to the front of the net. Roussel toward Eakin, it's blocked, and Roussel couldn't follow up against Ceci. Dallas with a 5-3 lead here again. They started the night 6 points back of the second wild card. Ben in for a pretty raucous hit. Ritchie over there. He jars Cowan, and no icing here. Lindback played that puck off the end boards. Hoffman, who got the game's first goal, is over there. Zibanejad passing back to Ryan, and then deep behind the net, it's Jordy Ben striding after it. Hoffman trying to cut him off. Jordy gave it to his younger brother, and Jamie out to Ritchie. Carlson beat him to the puck at the line, but Ritchie pushed him off of it. Sagan's pass. Hoffman coming back, intercepts. Sagan in for a look. Sagan off the sheet tonight. So far, Hoffman ahead, and Ryan puts it in. Lindback to Schlemko. Short pass to Spezza. Former Senator captain brushing it in. Hemsky has a goal and a helper in the game. So does Cole on the other side. Schlemko banking it out to Spezza at center. Pajot takes it over with Lazar into the Dallas zone. Pajot's shot handled by Anders Lindback. Swing by the new Hangar Team stores inside American Airlines Center or in Victory Park to pick up your Stars gear for game day and every day. Find a great selection of hats, jerseys, shirts, and more. And you'll love the new fan-friendly prices. The Hangar is the best spot to land official Stars gear.
There's no substitute for what Schlemko just did for the Stars. Hustles back to get it. Watch this. This is transition. Little pirouette. Use the boards. It gets out to center ice. Spezza turns it over. But it's a good play out of their own zone.
McCulloch's been blocked. Ceci going in with Mullen. And Goligoski partnered with Trevor Daley since the first period. They reunite. Daley takes the line. Daley to Mullen. Leonard got the stick out on it. There's a Mullen trapped deep. Stone will carry it. McCulloch dragged the leg to try and stay onside. Sevier's clearing attempt comes to center.
Good coverage, though. Horkoff recognizes Daley's way up ice and backs off. Plays as a defenseman. I think that's a big key to the Stars game. You know, they have to be aggressive. They were in the second period. They were rewarded. But you have to have people pick the game well if you're going to be aggressive.
Jordy Ben has it back of the net. He pulls down Alex Chason. Goes uncalled, and there goes Garbutt speeding into the Ottawa zone, cutting into the middle against Mathot, and Mathot took him off the puck. Now the Senators have numbers 4-on-2 as they hit the Dallas line. Chason to Carlson, and darting back is Eakin. It's launched toward the net, and Jordy Ben has it behind the goal. Clears to the line, Mathot keeping it in. Klingberg is in pursuit. Passes off Sagan to center ice, right to Chason. Carlson handing it back. Senators have leads of 2-0 and 3-1 in this game. 5-3 Dallas in the third. Hoffman pitching it forward. Phillips puts it back of the net. Zibanejad reached, couldn't find it. Jamie Benn got his stick cut along the boards, and Ritchie spins it back into Ottawa ice. Greiba passing to Ryan. 4 30-goal campaigns for Ryan in Anaheim.
He was supposed to mesh with Jason Spezza last year, and it just did not click.
Ben's stick is broken, so he couldn't pass it on, and that shot from Ryan answered again by Lindback.
A tough break, no pun intended, for Jamie Benn. Referee's had a stick in his hand more than some of the players here this last couple of shifts.
Jason Demers speeding after a puck. Passes to Schlemko, away from the pressure. Hemsky. And the defenseman pinch, so it goes down. They wave the icing. Cowan, Cole, shoved back of the net. Out come the Senators. Ceci, the defenseman, leading the charge, shoving it in, going after the puck, and then Spezza back to clean it up. To the line, that's Cowan. Back of the Dallas net. Pajot centered it, and Schlemko swept it aside. Schlemko was really good in Colorado, and he's defending well here. He clears this puck, but it's icing against the Stars.
Going to get their change in, so Mr. Schlemko is going to have to come back out here, and Lindback has an issue with his equipment as he heads over to get a strap fixed. Steve Sumner to help him out. I talked with David Schlemko this morning a little bit about how he played. I thought he played extremely well, and the Stars handled him intelligently when they picked him off waivers from the Arizona Coyotes. You know, it's a switch from their system to an up-tempo style here with the Stars. Wanted to make sure that he was up to speed. Again, no pun intended. You look great.
You've been all over the puns here.
Yeah, oh yeah. Strong. Good execution there by the Stars.
Schlemko hold it out. Carlson winding it up at center. Away from Sevier. McCulloch tapped it out of the air. Stars batted forward. And Sevier couldn't get away from Stone. Not shielding Horcoff from the puck. Carlson fending off 2 Stars and getting help from Mathot.
Tenacity in the Stars game here now.
The light bulb went on in the second period. Greiba passing forward. Stone cutting away from Jordy Ben, who takes a penalty.
Got past him, stick on the leg, player goes down. Sens go to the power play. Simple little equation. Chip through, turn around, got it on the laces, the player feels it, and down he goes. So a very important kill for the Stars here. And you've got a Senator power play that's been struggling of late, and they need one in the worst way right now to get within touch of this score here at American Airlines Center.
Bobby Ryan putting it down the boards. Goligoski turning. Chiasson leaning on him. Eakin shot it to the line, but right to Carlson. Passes to McCulloch, gets it back. Gives it to Ryan for a shot. That's blocked by Goligoski, and then fed to the net. They score! Chiasson tipped it that way, and then it was banged home on the far side, and the Senators have cut it to a goal.
So the long skate for Jordy Ben on the way back to the bench after the Senators cash in. You can see the Stars. They win the puck battle, throw it away. Watch them pack it in the slot when this puck comes through. 1, 2, 3 guys within that lane. Chiasson with the leap. There's your rebound chance right in front. It's hacked, whacked, bludgeoned by McCulloch, who was the left winger on the line with Hemsky and Spezza last year. And they get a very important goal and make this an extremely interesting final 14 minutes now.
He had 35 with Ottawa in the 11-12 season. McCulloch did. 4-time 20-goal man. That's just his 5th this year.
How about their power play all of a sudden? It was in a cold, dormant state. They erupt in Arizona and now scored on, 2 or 3 here tonight?
5-4 game. Richie Bennett, Sagan going to work. They have not scored in the game. Daly has. Truckett shoot it. Block. Ben feeding it in front. A shot. Ben missed it. Sagan was poking at it earlier.
Nobody could elevate it. Leonard was in a bad spot down, but nobody could get it over top of that left pad.
Turris twirling to the Dallas line. Lindback reaching up. Can't find it. Pitch to center. Cowan shoots it right back over. Well. Shots are 30-28. Ottawa. Still plenty of clock left. 13:05. Spezza is crashing in back there with Mathot. Put it in front, but Carlson leaps to find it. Klingberg shooting it. That's blocked by Mathot. Cole along the boards in the corner. Tried to turn away. Mathot clipped him. Pajot down the wing. Klingberg got there with the stick. Feeds it out to Mathot. Shot it and went off the referee and came back out front. Now Chiasson passing to Pajot. Out to Mathot to Carlson. Fires it wide of the net. Pajot left in the slot. Chiasson shoved by Klingberg to the ice. Cole comes to center and hands it on. Spezza protecting it along the boards. Wants to move the puck to players coming off the bench.
Oh, he had multiple allies heading to the net.
Travis Moore. Puck back of the net. Backhand shot from Sevier off the mark. Now Moen. Trevor Daly. Daly can't get past Carlson. Mikko Zibanejad. Wide to Ryan. Side-stepping Moen at center ice. Passing it off. Hoffman had it hacked away. Ryan shot it. Lindback found it with the blocker. Zibanejad to the line. Cowan's bid. Wide of a screen. Anders Lindback and in stride to Horkoff. Here come the Stars 3-on-2. Horkoff to Sevier. Taken all the way to the net, and then Cowan shoved him into the post. 11:39 left in the third period. 5-4 Dallas at the American Airlines Center. Tonight on Fox Sports Live on Fox Sports 1, #1 Kentucky back home after 2 close calls. Can they remain unbeaten as Mizzou comes to town? The most historic 3-game stretch in college football history. Should Cardell Jones go pro? Brady Quinn weighs in, and Deshaun Jackson joins the show. He'll tell us how the Packers can beat Richard Sherman this weekend.
Well, good to know. The Stars came close to answering that power play goal immediately after that. A couple whacks at this in tight. The 2 power forwards on this line was Seg and Richie with the first one, and Jamie Benn with a drive-by. Neither guy could get it up over top of that pad. A couple of whacks. Puck was up on end too, but Ben was cruising through, and Leonard kept them at bay. His dad was Henrik Lundqvist, goalie coach in Sweden. So far in the game, the Stars have had the better performance by the Swedish netminders and the better performance and production out of the Swedish defensemen.
Hence, a 5-4 Dallas lead. Roussel goes banging into the corner with Cowan. Eakin emerging with the puck. Passing out to Demers, now to Schlemko at the left point. Shot it back to the net off the inboards. Cowan had a step on Roussel. Garbutt after it. Roussel takes a swing at it, and Cowan losing Eakin. Lost an edge in the zone. He's on his way to the Dallas bench. Demers and Pajot in the corner. Chiasson got an assist on that power play goal. Ceci sneaking down from the right point. Now he's backing out. Chiasson hammered in the corner. Schlemko relieving him of the puck and tossing it out to center ice. Ceci with a pass ahead for Pajot. It's been entertaining tonight, that's for sure.
These two play games like this, though. Don't see each other very often, but when they get going, it's passionate and it's fast and usually high scoring.
Here's Daly. Get away from Ryan at center ice, and a penalty coming up against Ryan.
This one's as if he is the one on Jordy Ben moments ago. The Stars are going to get their opportunity with the power play.
After that, along with TXU and
Trevor Daly in full flight. Stick on the legs. I don't think that trips anybody, but go down. Arm goes up. you get an extra man. Really, the game's unfolded the way you'd expect it offensively. Stars an excellent 5-on-5 team offensively. The Ottawa Senators need their power play for offense. Not very good 5-on-5.
Stars are 1 for 2 in the game. Ottawa's 1 for 3. This is Dallas's third.
Time of the company, 9:28.
And they start with what is the second power play unit. Goligoski, Demers, Horcoff, Hemsky, and Cole. Hemsky on the wing, has a step on Legwand. Hemsky moving in, shot. He missed the net. That's the same spot from which he scored earlier. So they'll wind it up again. Demers flips it in. Ben off the bench, charging in there. Stone has it back at the goal, and he'll clear. 80 seconds remaining on the Ryan Minor. Less than half a period to play. Daly traversing his way across the ice against Lazar. Handing it back. Spezza shoots it in. Leonard back of his net. Using the boards, whips it off. Ben to the line. Daly already backing out. And Ritchie hands it back to the Dallas defenseman. See what they can do here. Daly taking it over. Ben a bit too eager offside.
I think he was anticipating that Trevor Daly was just going to chip that one through, and he went in. One area that has been good lately for them has been their entries. At least it was in Colorado on the weekend, but they can't get in and get set up on this one midway through the third period. Opportunity to give themselves or restore that 2-goal lead. Little breathing room.
That's a tying up Legwand at center. Daly to Sagan, moving in. Tyler shot at save Leonard. Richie Mullen contra back there. Cowan chipped it away from Sagan. Goes after it, but got his stick all fouled up. Sagan and Ritchie shoving him. Across the edge for Condra. Bang it out. Daly losing Legwand with the pass to Spezza. Sagan couldn't catch it with the skate. Gryba sends it down. 20 seconds remaining on the power play for Dallas. Pass ahead, Spezza. On the wing to Eakin. Shooting. Leonard swallows it.
Give him an opportunity to run something off of a set play at this face-off if they can win it. I don't know. It just feels like the power play. There's been too many ebbs and flows with it. I think it's similar to net minding. It's a confidence thing. And they just at times look lethal and at times look discombobulated.
Senators win this. Carlson sending Goligoski and Klingberg back. Lindback away from Turris. Now he'll chop it back to Goligoski, who's hacked down.
That should have been a penalty.
Ryan out of the box, tried to feed it through, and then comes back to Turris for a shot. Lindback scrambling, makes the save.
Whirling dervish opportunity there.
8:23 left in the third period. Dallas up 5-4 against Ottawa.
Kyle Turris attacked, almost tacked another one on for the Ottawa Senators. Went after Goligoski in behind the net. Chased him down, hacked him down, or Goligoski went down, and out of that, with the turnover, Turris gets this chance on the back door. Broken play, spins around, and just like Ben at the other end, a few shifts back, couldn't get it up in the air, and goalies now have the full pad parallel, and you're not going to score if you can't get it over top of that.
Horcoff and Turris circle to Lindback's left. Carlson off the face-off win for Ottawa. Shot it wide.
All of a sudden, Turris, 2 big wins. One in his own zone, short-handed. That one there.
MacArthur pumps it back to Carlson. Moen blocks it, comes to center ice. Mathot stretching, drives it back across. Lindback stopping it.
Good stop there.
Goligoski hassled by Lazar. Going deep in the zone. Swept it to the line. Turris shot it in, and Lindback will release it to Goligoski. Daly cranked it ahead. Sevier poked it forward. Horcoff looking to sneak past Turris at the line. Can't do it at the end of a shift. Here's MacArthur. He has a power play goal in the game. Turris takes the line, surrounded, got the shot away, and a save from Lindback. Jordy Ben down the ice, race for it. Phillips beating Garbutt.
Garbutt got a late start, otherwise that would have been a mismatch of speed with Ryan Garbutt who can fly down there. So all of a sudden the Stars on their heels again. I know they're ahead and they're protecting a 1-goal lead. It's been a big thing for Lindy Ruff. You know, starting with that win over New Jersey in mid-December, they won 6 straight 1-goal games, then a couple blowouts, and then all of a sudden they've lost their ability to win these close games.
Klingberg dodging the hit from Ryan. Jordy Ben. Roussel chipped it out. Garbutt kicks it over. Greiba back for Ottawa with 7:15 to play in the third. Put it right up the middle, but past everybody. Jordy Ben shoots it in. Phillips arriving ahead of Garbutt. Bumped him off the puck. Greiba sent it out. Zibanejad reached for it at the line. Demers clears to center ice. That's Hoffman. CC chased out by Spezza. Spezza's wingers each have a goal and an assist in the game, and he hasn't hit the score sheet. Demers knocks it up. Shot coming in from the wing. Stopped as McCulloch threw it right at Lindback.
Yeah, it's been the other former Sen who's been front and center in this one, Ales Hemsky. A beauty of a goal to get him started and a helper. The assist might have been more gorgeous than the goal itself. So he has been shiny in this one tonight. Spezza's usual stud on face-offs, but nothing, as you mentioned, offensively. And then Chiasson with that assist on the power play. He's been on the ice for a couple of goals against.
Nationals won some face-offs. Spezza wins another, though. Pelagowski back of his net. Gave it to Cole, chipped it out. Another race for it. They wave it. Hemsky knocked to the ice. Stiff shoulder there from Cowan.
Was it ever? I don't think Hemsky was ready for that one.
Now Cole coming in to challenge Cowan. Cole, stick is broken. He's looking at Cowan. Cole wants a stick. He comes back into play, and the whistle stops everything.
I'm telling you, it's insane sometimes down there when you watch the little ticky-tacky touch him on the skate penalties, and then you can have blatant interference and a full attack and nothing gets called. There's that, and then boom, the puck's 8 feet away. In comes Eric Cole to challenge him. Again, puck's nowhere in sight. They go back at one another. Cole breaks his stick over Cowan. All of that perfectly legitimate. There were no penalties called whatsoever. Cole's bashed his way around the rink here tonight. Power play goal himself. Things didn't start that well for the veteran winger. Back he comes. He was sick in Colorado. It's picking off Stars really one at a time. Horkoff had it first, then Cole. Sagan missed practice the other day.
Eakin and Zibanejad goes out to Carlson. Moving to his left, passing over to Mathata. Shot, handled, and held by Lindback.
I think Anders Lindback thought he had it, but he didn't. And Bobby Ryan came in there. Tried to chunk it home. Been pretty tidy with his rebound control, Anders Lindback. That's been a big part of it, I think, tonight. Both angling pucks off those pads have been some plump rebounds, but in the right spots and in a lot of stuff devoured.
Bidding for his second win of the year, Lindback is. Both would be in relief. Carlson shooting. Roussel denied. Up ahead, and Carlson intercepted the pass to Garbutt. He takes it right back across. Crafty. Pelagowski took it away. Back in the net, leaving it up the far side. Garbutt tipped it past Mathot, who looked for it anyway.
It's a good play. Angle the stick, get it up over top of the skates.
70-point seasons already for Erik Karlsson. From the back end, gave it to Turris. Straight up the wing. Stone picked off Ben. Turris shooting, saved Lindback, and rocketed to the near corner. Sagan digging in, so's Jordy Ben. Turris trying to advance it with his skate. It comes away, and Ben pushes it past Greiba, but then can't get away from Phillips. Stone travels back into the Dallas zone. Ben caught him. Into the corner from MacArthur. Wrestling match there. Klingberg can't get it up and off the boards. Jordy Ben knocks over MacArthur. Jamie Ben slides past Greiba. And Klingberg took a whack at it. It's bounced to Ritchie, who protects the puck and shot it toward the Ottawa line. They have Lazar in on the wing, shooting. Pad stop Lindback. Sevier tried to whisk it up the wall. Sagan, full protect mode in front of his own bench, launching it forward. Cowan changed gears, got it over, and then is plowed by Demers along the wall.
The hitting's malicious here now at this juncture.
Pass ahead off Moen, dives forward. Chiasson tapping it to Ceci. There's Sevier shouldering with Chiasson back of the net. Horkoff came in for a late hit. Ceci up ahead.
Senator defensemen have been very aggressive at the attack blue line. They're either going to keep it in or get caught.
Zibanejad chopped it up. Cole came in for the rescue for Dallas. Demers helps it up. And icing coming against Dallas with 3:46 left in the third, and the Stars up 5-4 over Ottawa.
Well, here's where you really lean on your ability to win pucks off of faceoffs and then navigate your way out of your own zone. You know, the first part, the faceoff, is almost the easy part. The second part is trying to get through a team that's on their toes. Timeout taken here?
Timeout Dallas.
There you go. Lindy Ruff wants to talk this one over with just under 4 minutes to go in regulation. So points would be important. Of course, with that victory by the Avalanche on the weekend, they leapfrogged over the Dallas Stars in the race for the wild card. San Jose and Winnipeg holding that right now. Stars will host the Winnipeg Jets next. Surprising Calgary Flames in between. Everyone keeps waiting for them to go away, and they won't.
That's basically the division that the Stars are now in.
Yeah,
it's the wild card race.
True.
Yep.
There's a ton of hockey left. As this is the first game of the second half. I think we found the key to Anders Lindback, though. We just have, even when they're his scheduled starts, they should just start Kari and then remove him and put Anders in.
Face up to Anders right off the timeout. Method controlling. Ryan slipping Horkoff. Carlson heading to the front of the net. Ryan shot blocked by Goligoski. Horkoff to Sevier. Pitching it up and out to center ice. And then tangling with Method inside the Ottawa zone. Mike Hoffman had it all started with his team leading 15th back in the first period on Kari Lettinen. Tried a solo attack. One move too many. Puck again into the benches. 3:17 left in the third period. Stars 5, Senators 4. Dallas holding on here at American Airlines Center is Big D.
One of the heroes of that eruption of offense in the second period, John Klingberg. Third time in the last 4 home games the Stars have scored 4 or more goals in a period. As promised, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Run you through that goal-scoring middle frame. It all got started with Trevor Daley on that point shot. Hold the Stars to within a shot of tying the game. They did. Klingberg, back-to-back goals from defenseman. Klingberg off the rush. Then on the power play, Eric Cole, nice little deflection of Alex Goligoski shot, put him in the lead for the first time tonight. Klingberg second in the frame with 8 seconds to go, made it 5-3 Stars. They started the period down 3-1. Crazy.
Shots are 12-4 in the third in favor of Ottawa. They have the Frames' only goal, and they're a shot away with 3:14 to play. Here's Carlson. Long pass. Wanted a speed play there. Daley just won the race.
Worth a shot, I guess. Now they're going to have to control things, though, back in their own zone. The home games in which the Stars... 4 goals in a period is a lot. One period they scored 5. That's Arizona on New Year's Eve, the Minnesota game when they throttled them here, and then tonight. So when they get going, it is an onslaught of offense.
Face off now in the Ottawa zone. Cody Eakin against Kyle Turris. Eakin wins another one. Jordy Ben, no lane to shoot through. Fired it anyway. And Carlson tripped up in front by Roussel. Out comes Turris. Eakin won't give him the line. Roussel sneaking under Carlson. Garbutt stumbling his way in, but with the puck. Ottawa has it now. 2:45 to play. Methot shooting it forward. Klingberg took it away, and it's got a lot of English on it. It ties, so there's no icing. Carlson leaving it. Leonard got funneled up. Spezza in attacking the puck. Hemsky to the line for Goligoski. Working around the boards to Cole. Cole back to Spezza. Methot hanging on him. Spezza finding Goligoski at the line. Hemsky very high in the zone. Back to the net at Spezza. Tied up with Methot. Cole tried to barrel through. And Carlson slips forward with it. Center ice. Zibanejad. Into the corner with Goligoski and Daly. Back of the net, it's Hoffman. Centered it. Gloved forward by Spezza. It dies on Cole's forehand, and he'll clear.
Because of that shift, they forced Carlson to play in his own zone again. He's off the ice right now with a minute and a half to go in regulation.
So is Leonard. Ottawa goaltender goes to the bench. Zibanejad finds the puck, shot it wide of the net. Extra attacker on for the Sens. Turris' hopeful bid blocked and cleared out to center ice. Ritchie in pursuit, so Seguin. Ritchie comes back to secure it, hands it to Demers. Seguin surrounded at center ice. Puck comes through to Ritchie, but off of him, Stone lost it to Ben. Seguin shooting just wide. And an icing call against the Stars. Immediately Sagan's hands went to his head as if he realized his mistake.
Well, lost his coordinates on the ice. I think he didn't have time or didn't take time to figure out whether he was on his side of center ice or the other side. Took a shot at the net, and it's a broken play. He's trying to beat the defender. This allows the Senators to get Carlson on the ice. He was off the ice at that point.
Leg one and Seguin. And puck is still in the linesman's hand. Ryan Monk giving instructions. Leg one goes forward. Demers has it in the corner. Shot it up the boards. Stone tripped, and Ritchie shoots it down. It's rolling on edge, and it is icing against the Stars with 1:07 to play.
Strong play by young Ritchie, though. He just ripped it out of the feet and got a little too much on it here. And Seguin to talk it over. Of course, when you ice the puck, you can't change. So even if Lindy Ruff wanted to change things up here, he can't, and he's used his timeout. So it's up to the guys that are out there.
Seguin and Zibanejad. Seguin wins the draw. Goes to the corner, though. Chasson's there. Big puck battle. He centered it off Lindback. Poked it toward the line. Hoffman keeping it in. Chasson back of the net. Seguin pushed him off the puck. Zibanejad has it in the corner. Out to the line for Hoffman. Firing. Hit his own man, McCulloch. From the right point, he'll feed it down into the corner. Got past Demers to Ryan. Demers digging it. Loose in front. Shot by McCulloch and a save by Lindback. Ryan has it in the corner with 35 to play. Stars up 5-4. Extra attacker here for Ottawa. Hoffman left it for Ryan. Seguin trying to take it away. He pushes Ryan to the ice on top of the puck. Out of that pile-up, Hoffman has it. Carlson shooting. Save Lindback. Loose puck at the side of the net. Ben cranks it around the boards and down. This will be icing against Dallas, but another huge stop by Anders Lindback.
Wow, they got exhausted guys on the ice. A mammoth stop by the big guy in the pipes on Carlson. I don't believe the Senators have used their timeout, and they probably don't want to use it now and allow the Stars to catch their breath. That chance for Carlson, nice patience. Waits, whips it. Better patience by the netminder to hang on.
Face off to Lindback's left. 13 seconds remaining. It's Ben and Turris. Carlson, the tail gunner in the high slot. Ben has Seguin along the near boards. Goligoski right behind him.
I forgot Cameron took his timeout way back in the second period.
Correct. Off the tie-up, Seguin wrestling with MacArthur. It goes to the line. Hoffman to Carlson. A shot. That's blocked. It hits one of the Stars at the back. It's cleared just wide of the empty net.
Hit Demers right in the name bar, I think. Maybe the arm. Watch this. Demers trying to multitask in front of the net with Bobby Ryan, and as the shot comes, he turns away from it. Maybe worried that it was going to go head high, and it nailed him in the back. Got to shake that off, because with the icing again, he could lobby that he's injured, but they're going to try to squeeze this one down.
2 3/10 remaining. Sagan and Turris again in the circle to Lindback's right. What a hockey game tonight. Entertainment value and then some. Everybody up at American Airlines Center.
Stars want to move Zibanejad back so that somebody can get out. If they do win this draw, somebody can get out at Hoffman.
Off the time, Sagan shot it to the corner, and the Stars beat the Ottawa Senators 5-4.
Well, major kudos to Anders Lindback to step in and play the way he did. At last check, and you can add on to it, 41-29, the Stars got outshot by the Senators. I mean, he gave up as many goals on what? 36?
Yeah.
That Kari Lehtinen gave up on the first 5 in the game. And the Stars offense hit the accelerator in the middle frame to take over the game, and they hang on in the third for a very important 2 points here on home ice to get this homestand started. Wow.
So the Dallas Stars begin the 3-game homestand tonight, falling behind, catching up, and then overtaking the Ottawa Senators to hang on for a 5-4 win. Tonight's game produced by Jason Walsh and directed by Mark Vittorio. The associate producers are John Sponsler, Doug Foster, and Cody Eastwood. For Daryl Ray, Nick Waddle, and the rest of the gang, I'm Ralph Strangis. Hang in there. Post-game show is coming up now.